Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nitsa coming back with another bullseye of a video here today on the channel. We're gonna show you how to mix some ear candy ad-libs. I think ad-libs are a pretty important part of hip-hop music, especially in the most recent years. If you go back and listen to the throwback music, one thing I noticed like about 90s rap and all that stuff like that is they never really use ad-libs. But nowadays, it's kind of really important to get them ad-libs right because that's a part of how you catch the listener's attention. You know, in this TikTok generation and bubblegum popcorn generation we living in, a good ad-lib is a great way to just spice up a song, catch people's attention, get people creating a connection to a song right away. So I'm going to show you guys how you can create some ear candy style ad-libs that can help you stand out. So I have a little song right here that I'm going to play right now. Let's jump right into it. Let's not waste no time. All right, let's hear what we got.
Ain't even lie, they got some baddies down in Sunrise. I did it to them Yerkees, now I'm craving for a 30. Did my dirt all on my own, nigga, I don't need a Cody. Hey, you gon' be scratching out shit like you Mr. Mosley. Why you tryna judge me when you don't even know me? Tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean nothing if they don't have no back end. Once you say things, you can't bring them back in. I look ahead, I ain't worried about the past tense. Take what's yours, ain't no way that I'm asking. Words.
All right, so that's what we have here today. So that's the song. That's the song. You get the gist of it. You know, so the very first thing that you want to do when you're mixing ad-libs is you want to have your mindset in check, right? You want to figure out as the artist is laying down that lead vocals, are we going to need the ad-libs to drive the song, or are we going to need the ad-libs to complement the song? You know, generally with ad-libs, if somebody's doing a flow where they're lacking breathing breaks, right? They're doing flows where it's like, and like there's no space at all. More than likely, I might just tell the artist, you know what, fam? I don't even think you need ad-libs. So you as the engineer, you got to be like guiding the song. You know, you got to listen to it from the very start. As soon as they drop in the lead track and the background vocals, you got to start thinking, like, are we even going to have space for ad-libs? Because sometimes ad-libs can potentially like ruin a song. It can distract from the lead vocals. So get your mindset right first, you know, pay attention to the whole body of work and the final destination, right? So once you do, you know, feel like you do have some ad-libs, a trick I like to do a lot with my artists is I like to tell them to back up from the microphone, right? When you back up from the microphone, like physically in real life, right, there's gonna be less low-end information going into the microphone. So you don't have to make the ad-libs sound like they're farther if the artist literally got farther. So that's kind of like a little cheat code, like a common sense cheat code that you can do right now. And you always want to make sure you avoid the ad-libs kind of sounding like they're on top of the lead vocal, you know? Sometimes it is good in a situation like that. I've had songs where I might make the ad-libs boomy and I might make the lead vocal skinny, right? And usually people might be like, oh, you know, like that kind of breaks the rules, but just understand there is no rules. Always keep your mind open, and whatever sounds good for the song, that's what you got to go with, because that's going to give you the best outcome, right? So the very first thing I want to talk about is the auto-tune. Usually when it comes to the auto-tune, what I did right here, as you can see, is I actually used two different retune speeds, right? I love doing this because this kind of creates like a little bit of variationness, a little bit of unevenness in the sound. You know, I'm always trying to make all of my vocals sound like real life, right? And you know, obviously in real life, you don't hear every song perfectly. So I'm like creating my own little, you know, kind of like distortion, you know, kind of like a disruption of sound, right? With this auto-tune, right? And sometimes I like to change the input type. You can change the input type. You can put it soprano. So, you know, you do the ad-libs, right? And then you put in a different, and it will tune it a little bit different way, giving it some contrast. That's kind of what ad-libs are about, mostly in my opinion, is contrast, right? Bringing something more to the vocal. I remember when I was starting engineering, my OG, right? I was doing some ad-libs in the booth, and I was just kind of doing like a basic ad-lib, right? Just saying the last word of everything that the lead vocal was saying. And my OG told me like this, he said, bruh, he's like, you don't need to do that. Like the delay is gonna do that. And like that just like messed up my whole mind when he said that, because I just realized at that moment that, you know, like with ad-libs, you got to really be bringing something different with ad-libs. Like, you got to get, that's your time to get animated. I'm not gonna lie, especially if your lead vocal was monotone, you know, because some people are monotone. Like when when it's time for that ad libs, they gonna have to turn up. So that's why, as an engineer, it's your job to put confidence in the artist, right? If you want them to do good ad libs, this has nothing to do with plugins. You got to instill confidence in the artist and say, "Oh, you ripped them ad libs. Yeah, go ahead and back and do it again." Sometimes what I might also do too, I might have them do more than one take. I might have them do 2 takes, and I might just rip up the parts that I want, right? I might have a little whole ad lib compilation and just take the parts that I want. I might also go in there too, and I might start editing the ad libs. You know, taking out this, keeping that, all of that, right? Next thing I want to talk about as well is I like to use strip silence. I don't know if every DAW has this, but with Pro Tools you can do Command U. I think on a Windows it's Control U. I'm not completely sure, but pretty much what it does, it rips up the empty space, right? So with the empty space in the ad libs, you kind of want to take it away, just because of the fact that it's going to be reverberating all that dead noise, and it's going to start piling up. So cool. Next thing that we got right here, studio rack chain. You know, nothing crazy. We just rolling off a little bit low end. And usually when I do that, you know, because I backed up so far from the microphone that I didn't really have to roll off too much low end, like only 286 on this filter right here. So you should always remember that too. You know, physically back up from the damn microphone. You know, a lot of these issues that we might have, we can solve it in real life. I try to take care of it in real life before it hits the DAW, right? Okay, so next thing I have right here, a little bit boost at 3.3 just to bring out the articulation of the ad libs, because I don't want it to sound muffled with this low pass filter that I have right here. So yeah, you know, these are my basic EQ moves, and let's hear what it sounds like with and without it.
Ain't even lie, they got some baddies down in Sunrise. I did it to them Yerkees, now I'm craving for a 30. Did my dirt all on my own, nigga, I don't need a code. Hey, you gon' be scratching out shit like you Mr. Mosley. Why you tryna judge me when you don't even know me? Tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Ain't even lie, they got some baddies down in Sunrise. I did it to them Yerkees, now I'm craving for a 30. Did my dirt all on my own, nigga, I don't need a code. Hey, you gon' be scratching out shit like you Mr. Mosley. Why you tryna judge me when you don't even know me? Tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Where is me?
So I actually just disabled the whole chain, so you can see where we came at. So yeah, the EQ was the EQ. It did something minor, help it sit a little bit better. And that's the important thing about frequencies, you know. I always start off with a high and low pass filter, because those, you know, the absolute bottom and the absolute top is how you dictate the positioning to the listener, right? And next thing that we have right here, SSL channel strip. Let's hear it with and without.
Don't even know me, tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean nothing if they don't have no back end. Once you say that, don't even know me. Tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean nothing if they don't have no back end.
So as you can see right here, the SSL is just making it sound like a song. First of all, the saturator of the SSL, like the saturation of the whole circuit path, is the reason why I chose it. Like I always try to tell you guys, I wrote off even more, you know, with a low shelf, you know, just rolling off even more, just cleaning things up, you know, with my ad libs. I don't want the frequencies to clash, because it's going to make it sound muddy. And I think that this high mid frequency is very important right here. This 4K to 5K range, that's really where the character of a vocal lies. The mid bass is the feeling, right? But the character is in this upper mid range right here. So sometimes I might boost it, sometimes I might take it away. It all depends on what the frequency content of my lead vocal is, you know. Like I might boost it because I feel like that is complementing the vocal, but at this time I feel like it was a build-up. So I did a very deep cut and I made it narrow just to get precise with it. And then I boosted a little bit of top, you know, for the ad lib, somewhere around that range. So I kind of did like a pull text style thingy, you know. Boosting, cutting around the same ballpark. And we did some filters, you know, a little bit more rolling off lows, rolling off highs. And most importantly right here, what we have is the dynamic section for ad libs. Let me tell you how I approach my dynamic section. So I always turn my threshold all the way up. This is a trick for all of the waves, specifically SSL channel strips. When you turn this all the way up, you get some saturation, right? I'm gonna go into this a little bit in more depth into a video coming up this week. So I turn the threshold all the way up and I pull up the ratio. And usually with the ad-libs, I like to compress it a lot. Sometimes I might bring in the fast attack to take out some of the punch of the ad-libs if I feel like the ad-libs are too impactful. But I always keep it on fast release for vocals too, just because it's the ad-lib, it's sudden. I want it to just compress the peak of the ad-lib. And mostly this is for really the tone, right? Because I want my ad-libs to have impact. Let me show you what it sounds like with and without.
You don't even know me, tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean nothing if they don't have no back end. Once you say things, you can't bring them back in. You don't even know me, you don't even know me. Tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean nothing if they don't have no back end. Once you
So yeah, I think the dynamic section is pretty important for me to like tame that initial transient of the ad lib, and I'm doing hella compression, but it doesn't matter. It's only mattering what sounds good. And sometimes I use the gate. I like to use the gate to choke the ad lib, right? And this time I didn't use it. I mostly used it on the RVox. You know, I feel like a gate is pretty important because it kind of helps create separation with that initial reverb too. Let me show you guys with and without. I think I'm gonna solo it just to make it a little bit more apparent.
don't even know me, couldn't even hold me. Go ahead and show me. Don't even know me, couldn't even hold me. Go ahead and show me. Back in.
So you can kind of hear some of the headphone bleed as well, but I just feel like with the gate, you know, as the reverb is decaying, right, the gate is gonna come in there and just like clean it up, right? Because I still do want a big reverb, kind of like what I have right here with a spring reverb. You know, the time is the 3.6, you know, so I do want that hall reverb. I do want that big sense of space, but I want to use a gate just to keep myself in check, you know, because the gate is just gonna, you know, the gate is just gonna go about just closing that big space for me, you know, and cleaning things up, keeping it controlled, right? And then we have a CLA 76. The main reason why I picked this one here is just because the tone, the color, right? And I am doing a little bit of compression. Correct me if I'm wrong. Song.
You don't even know me, tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean.
So I just love how the CLA 76 is working, right? The input ain't that too crazy. It's not consistently working, but when it's working overtime. I have it on the all ratio because I want a hard knee that's just no me, show me. You feel me? I wanted to do something like that in addition to the gate that I already got going on. So I'm just creating movement with the compression, right? And I'm thinking about the attack and the release. You know, the release is very important because with that, it's giving me that movement with the ad libs, right? It's me, the recovery time, me, all of that stuff, right? I'm gonna try to do it with a slow release. I don't know if the difference will be too noticeable, but let's put the release all the way on the slowest.
You don't even know me, tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean nothing, you don't even know me, tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean.
So I feel like it's adding a little bit of more sustain when it's like that. Let's play with the fastest release.
You don't even know me, tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean. You don't even know me, tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean.
So I feel like with the compressor like this, I'm making the ad libs a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more like the movement of the actual ad libs. It's kind of not too noticeable, but it definitely does make a difference if you really pay attention. And then lastly, I just had an additional EQ, so constantly shaping my my ad lib bus, right? So I bust them to the same place and I just process them all at once. And another thing I had right here too is I did some auto tune on the delay, which I think is very important. You know, auto tune can work like a compressor. It's just how I see auto tune. I see this retune speed. You know, it's just how I perceive it. You know, I see it as the attack, and this is kind of like my release a little bit. So the auto-tune is based upon frequencies, right? And when there's a frequency that's out of place, the auto-tune is going to push it down and like kind of like boost another one. So that's how auto-tune works, you know, because notes are all based on frequency content. So I love putting a little auto-tune, aggressive auto-tune on my delays as well. And let's just play it one more time without the echo.
Baddies down in sunrise. I did it to them Yerkies. Now I'm craving for a 30. Did my dirt on my dirty. Why you tryna judge me when you don't even know me? Tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real. She said go ahead and show me. Words mean nothing if they don't have no back end. Once you say why you tryna judge me when you don't even know me? Tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real. She said go ahead and show me. Words mean nothing.
All right, and that's a big difference to me, just filling up that space with that auto-tuned delay, you know, just the way the auto-tune is working. It's kind of giving it an extra dimension, you know, the delay is just coming through, but it just kind of sounds like it's getting pressed down a little bit. And that's what the auto-tune does too. You know, I've auto-tuned the reverb as well. I might just do a little video, in one of my videos, I'll show that too. You know, if you put a reverb and you put auto-tune at the end, you're going to hear like the reverb getting pushed down. So that's why I say I see auto-tune like a compressor a little bit, you know. It's the way it's just working the frequencies, pushing some down, pushing some up. And, you know, like, let's pay attention too. Like, lastly, when I have my ad-libs, I love cutting them up. I love going in there and making them all sound different, you know. Sometimes I wanna mind F the listener when I'm an engineer. I wanna put a little bit here, a little bit there, depending on the words, you know. I like to go there, cut it up, cut it up, cut it up. And I have a little pattern right here. You know, like usually when it's like the first word of the hook or the last word of a hook, I like to do left, right, then down the middle. You'll know what I'm talking about, but it just sounds so good. Like when you stack both of them on top of the middle, when it's like the last word or the first word of the hook. So I'll always try to keep that in mind. Like the little patterns that you do are going to be very important in context to the feeling of how the listener is. So like when you look right here, you know, you see, I kind of, you know, built it up a little bit.
Why you tryna judge me when you don't even know me? Tryna put me down when you couldn't even hold me. Told her that I'm real, she said go ahead and show me. Words mean nothing if they don't have no back end. Once you say things, you can't bring them back in. I look ahead, I ain't worried about the past tense. Take what's yours, ain't no way that I'm asking.
Swoosh. Beautifulness, you know, but still controlled, right? And I just want to say thanks a lot for watching this video today, guys. I really do appreciate it. Last thing I wanted to say again is that I actually have these ad-libs going to my all vocals, right? So once I get the balance between my ad-libs, lead vocal, whoop-de-whoop, all of that, I like to send it all to the same fader. So if I feel like all of the vocals are too loud, I just pull it down. So that's another cheat code, another gem. That's all we do. We drop around here as gems, and that's what we're going to keep doing. I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. More content coming. Appreciate it now. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.
Once you say things, you can't bring them back in. I look ahead, I ain't worried about the past tense. Take what's yours, ain't no way that I'm asking. Words mean nothing if they don't have no back end. Once you say things, you can't bring them back in. I look ahead, I ain't worried about the past tense. Take what's yours, ain't no way that I'm asking.